Today, phase 2 starts, which is the overworld perimeter. In this episode, I'll build some more farms for the upcoming World Eater to help me get the resources for it. Let's get started. A World Eater needs quite a lot of redstone for all the components and even just redstone blocks, so I decided to make a witch farm. The location I chose has 2 witch huts quite close to one another in order to get more drops. But first, let's make a small perimeter for this farm to actually produce something. And no, this is not the main perimeter that I'll make in phase 2. What you see me build in the background are quarries. These will destroy anything in their way apart from liquids and obsidian. Let's give them a test run. Now I have to drain the water using sand to make smaller pockets and then use sponges. And now we're set. Let's run the quarries while removing lava and water on the go. By the way, I'll have to rebuild the quarries again to make the perimeter deep enough. First, I'll use just 2 of them to get rid of these mountains and then use 6 quarries for the perimeter. Alright, to push witches out of the portal, I grabbed this guy and put him next to the portal. Now let me explain how the farm works. Flying machines push the witches down into a water stream that flows into a nether portal. Witches in the nether will push each other towards another portal and will appear back in the overworld, similar to the way the Wither Skeleton farm by ENX04 works that I had already built a few episodes back. As mentioned, the slime will push most of the witches to the drop chamber, where they'll be pushed into a 1x1 drop chamber. The items are simply being sorted, although the main item I want from this farm is the redstone dust. It produces less redstone than I thought it would and maybe even less than the raid farm. So why did I build it then? Well, at the raid farm there's a chance to be killed by vexes. This is not the case here. While AFKing, I'm completely safe, and with the beacon's regeneration effect I won't starve to death, meaning I can AFK for however as long as I want without any issues. Let's get back to our beloved trading hall. There are still a lot of villagers missing. By now the villager breeder should have some villagers in stock that we can transfer to the trading hall. This is a rather tedious and boring process, so I won't show too much of it and work on it in the background. Once I am done with all the villagers, I will show you the result, but that's still a few episodes away. For the World Eater, I will also need a lot of pistons and observers. Both of these items need a lot of cobblestone, especially when needed in large quantities. So let's make the overpowered Cobblestone Farm by Ilmango and add 6x hopper speed shulker loaders by Unscientifically. Let's add a bunch of shulker boxes and work our way through the farm. Up here are simply 4 layers of 7 pistons per side that generate stone and push it towards the center. Here a TNT duper will blow up the stone, dropping about 2.5 stacks per TNT. Down here are the slightly noisy shulker loaders. This is a kill switch I added to stop the farm when there are only a few empty shulker boxes left to be filled. And that's all there is to it. As for the rates of this farm, you get a shulker box of cobblestone in less than a minute. Next up is a Bonemeal Farm, but why would I build it now? To be honest, I am not too sure myself. Well, technically I need quite a lot of chests in the perimeter. To get them I need Bonemeal for the tree farm, so I guess that's a reason for this farm. However, I built it in a slightly wrong location. Apparently the stone should all be in the same chunk, because for some reason the moss doesn't spread to stone in adjacent chunks. I only learned about this after I had built the farm. Still, it works perfectly fine, just with a bit lower rates. As for the last farm to be built before the perimeter project, I want an Obsidian Farm. These are also quite powerful, as 5 minutes of AFKing gives you around 1.5 shulker boxes of obsidian. In the process, I had to get rid of one of the sand tubers, however 3 of them are still more than enough. I also decorated the end spawning platform where the sand will be collected, but also the obsidian and the wither will be. Let's test the farm and then I'll explain how it works in detail. So the snow golem will continuously try to hit the silverfish, and when the piston underneath the snow golem is powered, the snowballs will go through the end portal. Whenever an entity goes through that portal, the end spawning platform is reset. In a 5x5 and 4 tall box, including the obsidian itself, everything will be deleted and the obsidian platform repaired. A chunk loader keeps this part loaded while AFKing in the end. A dropper shoots out an item every 5 minutes until it runs out. When this happens, the snow golem will be lowered out of the portal, stopping the farm. So per item you put in the dropper, you can AFK for 5 minutes in the end. The wither will be spawned and then trapped as it's trying to fly forward and upwards at the same time. The wither will also break a 3x3 area of obsidian that is repaired by the snow golem's snowballs. But before spawning the wither, there's one more important thing to do. We need to place 4 iron blocks in the hidden ceiling. Once the farm stops, I can press this button to dispense a carved pumpkin, spawning an iron golem that will take care of the wither as it's still locked onto me. That's the farm. Down here we have the storage. These chests are for the sand tubers and this side is for the obsidian. Finally, I'll start working on the perimeter. The perimeter is gonna be 33 by 33 chunks, so when using a render distance of 16 chunks and you stand in the very center of the perimeter, you won't see the walls of the perimeter at all. So maybe you already know how a world eater works, but in case you don't know what it is, or if you've never seen one, don't worry, I'll try to explain it and show you all the steps you need to take before using a world eater and making a perimeter. The reason I didn't use a world eater for the smaller perimeter in the witch farm is because simply the perimeter there is way too small for that much effort. So using queries is a very good way to do smaller perimeters like 16 by 16 or 17 by 17 chunks. Anyways, a world eater consists of a lot of flying machines that will carpet bomb an area, removing liquids that protect blocks from being blown up. There are world eater designs that will remove water and lava for you. Both these flying machines will reach the other end of the world eater, then they'll be moved down by 1 block and returned. Same thing happens on the other side, continuing to destroy the entire area. The only thing the world eater cannot destroy is obsidian, and obviously bedrock as well. Anyways, obsidian needs to be removed manually by the player. While I could remove it on the go, while TNT flying machines fly over my head trying to blow me to bits and pieces, I can also stop the world eater. This allows me to split the task of running the world eater into multiple sessions and to make removing obsidian a lot less stressful. Now, since the whole machine is moving downwards and because the world eater cannot remove blocks and liquids right underneath itself, I first will have to make trenches. I used the design for TNT flying machines by Doc Eben77. The trenches in the south and the north need to be 3 blocks wide, and on the west and east side 15 blocks wide. All of these trenches go all the way down to bedrock. I however made a terrible decision. I really did not want to build all the trenches 4 times to get all the way down to bedrock, and that's where it all went wrong. I had to build them a bit closer to the ground, and this caused some of the TNT that was launched upwards sometimes to blow up the trenchers. This happened quite a few times, especially on the large trenchers on the west and east side. I definitely would have saved quite some time just building them 4 times instead of rebuilding them every time they blew themselves up. Eventually, I still got it done. Now, for the decision of the location of the perimeter, I chose a spot that would have some desert, because here zombies won't spawn, or at least not that often, as there are husks spawning instead, and husks only spawn underneath direct access to sunlight, so this will help me get rid of the zombie spawns in the mob farm that I will build here. Another reason is the larger area of a river biome. This will be useful for a squid farm and or a drowned farm. Then also there is a village nearby, which is pretty much a given since the perimeter is so large, which makes it quite easy to get 2 villagers in here and make a villager breeder. And finally, there is also a pillager outpost, which I can use to make a bad omen farm. Why would I need it all the way out here? Well, I'm gonna build a different raid farm here. This design will be just slightly overpowered and should cover all my redstone needs for sure. So make sure to be subscribed to not miss that. Before I show you the time-lapse of the trenches, I gotta address a problem I faced during this process. In order for these machines to work, the chunks need to be loaded, otherwise they break. Since the vanilla render distance can't go past 32 chunks, this could become a problem since the perimeter is 33 chunks large. As long as I am somewhere around the center of the perimeter, everything is loaded and works perfectly fine. However, I will have to keep removing water and lava manually for the trenches, and while I am working on one side of the perimeter, the trencher on the complete opposite side will likely to be unloaded and break. I looked for mods that can increase the render distance, however, they will only load the chunks for you but not for the game, meaning redstone doesn't work there. I tried out mods like Bobby and Optifine and also changed the options config file to increase the render distance. I checked whether chunk loaders would work, but not even these worked. That was quite surprising to me, and for a while I didn't know how to keep these chunks loaded. At first I was against the idea of using carpet bots to load these areas, but since nothing else came to my mind and I wanted to get the episode out eventually, I opted for this method. Carpet is a mod that brings in a lot of features to the game. One of them is spawning in bots. These will load an area just like a player would. You can also make them attack with a certain interval between each hit, give them swords and let them AFK at, for example, the witch farm. However, this is not how I want to play the game. So I will only use them for loading the perimeter so that I can use the trenches and the world eater. In case any of you have an idea on how I could make the world eater work without these bots, I welcome you to comment it down below. But until I found another solution, I'll use carpet mod to help me out. Anyways, now enjoy the time lapse of the trenches. And the trenches are done, and this is what it looks like. Now there's nothing in our way anymore to build the world eater, except for a couple of slime blocks. Yeah, maybe a couple of stacks. Or shulker box? Multiple boxes? What am I doing to myself? Anyways, you'll see in the next episode how that will go. Now I gotta show you something. While running the trenchers, I might have gone around and grabbed one or the other diamond. So yeah, here's the result of that. Now imagine how much I'll get throughout the entire perimeter. Anyways, this converts to almost a full diamond beacon already without actually trying. Alright, this video is already long enough, so I'll make this short. Next time I'll build the world eater, run it, and start with tidying up the rough edges of the perimeter. And with that, I'll see you next time.